So when you first approach the chair, the yellow LED will light up based on the infrared distance sensor. So if someone's right in front of the chair, it'll detect that someone's in front of it, and it lights up an LED to show that it's working and it's powered on. So when you kick the chair, the red LED will light up to show that it is in pain based on the input from the kick and based on the force sensor. If you kick the chair hard enough that it flips over, it will play a noise to show that it is in distress. So this is where the name of our project comes from, Screaming Chair. For our sensors, we have 2 force sensors that are analog sensors, and we have 3 tilt sensors on each side of the chair that are digital sensors, and then we have the infrared distance sensor in the front. So the force sensor is there to detect the kick and how hard they kick. And then the distance sensor detects whether a person is approaching or not. And then the tilt sensors detect whether the chair is tilted or not. So there's only 2 states that is like the chair is tilted or is not tilted. We had 3 tilt sensors, so it can detect whether it's tilted or not, regardless of whichever side the chair falls. And then you have 2 force sensors, so there's like a bigger space it could detect, since all the force sensors we could find are really small, and the chair's pretty big. Yeah. Oh, so the output, we have the buzzer, which plays the sound, and the sound changes depending on the user input. Like they can change like whether the chair's gender is male or female and what age the chair is. And depending on that, it will play a different frequency of sound through the buzzer. And then our other output is the 2 LEDs, and the infrared sensor controls the yellow LED, so the yellow LED stays lit up if someone is like right in front of the chair. And then for the red LED, it'll light up when someone kicks the chair and when the chair falls over. So our interface has an HP bar, which reflects how much damage it's taking. So it's based on how hard the user hits the force sensor or kicks the chair. So like a strong tap or kick would make the HP go down a lot. So like that, or like a light tap would make it go down a little bit. So our interface also shows the gender and the age range the chair is. So, and you can change what gender and age range the chair is to change the sound of the scream. So like, right now it's female, and then if you change it to male, it'll have like a different scream, like that. And if you change the age range. So here we have our processing code, and our processing code is mainly in charge of drawing the interface as well as sending and receiving data to the Arduino. So the interface updates based on the data it receives from the Arduino, as well as sends data to the Arduino based on what the user inputs using the interface. So here we have a bunch of variables for drawing the buttons the user used to select the gender and age. And here's just setting the variables for the location and size. And here's drawing the buttons. And here we have receiving data from the Arduino, the data for the force sensor. So it receives a string from the Arduino, and it cuts it apart so it could read the data. And then we change the data so we can use it to draw a HP bar here. So the HP bar is based on the data we receive from the two force sensor. So we receive the force sensor data here by packaging the force data sensor with A and B, so like it shows where the string starts and ends, so it could easily separate the data. And then here's just some code for drawing the buttons and making sure they work. And here we have like if the button is true, like if the user clicks on the button, then it will set the frequency to a number that the Arduino could use. So if the user chooses the chair gender to be female, it'll send this number, which is like this frequency. So basically this number is for the frequency of the buzzer. And here we have code to send the number that the user sets to the Arduino to be used as frequency for the buzzer. So here we have our code for our Arduino. So our Arduino handles all the input and output that it receives from the environment. So here we have all our variables for the sensors and the output. So we set the input and output of each sensor and LEDs and buzzer and stuff. So here we have the code that Arduino uses to send the force sensor data to processing. So we have two force sensors. So we have two separate packages, A and B, and we package them so the processing can read it easily and separate the data. So here's our force sensor 1 and our force sensor 2. And here we have the code that Arduino uses to receive data from processing. So this is the data that the user inputs to change the frequency that the buzzer, the sound that the buzzer uses to make. So when the user selects the gender or age, it sends a number that is the frequency of the buzzer. So here it receives that number. And here we just have code to control the output based on the input. So it's like if the chair is tilted, then it will make a sound using the buzzer. And then we have code here controlling the yellow LED based on the distance sensor, and code to control the red LED based on the force sensors. And that's all.